to look at this problem here. Let's put this, This is that problem with the static, right? Where there's an announcement, and every time there was something important, you couldn't hear it. So, good morning, students and teachers and staff. The teachers have joined the school fundraiser. They will be selling books for summer reading. They have set a goal of dollars. This is $210 more than the graders, but only 4/5 as much as the graders. For every $60, the teachers plan to raise, the graders plan to raise $50, and you're supposed to figure out what belongs where those words were overridden by static. Okay, so I know that you had time to think about it yesterday, and some of you might have an answer. Does anybody want to share one of their answers before we work it out? Yeah, Peter?
$360.
Where would that go in that?
They have set a goal of $360, and this
Okay, so Peter's saying 360 here.
and this is $210 more than the 8th graders, but only 4/5 as much as the 7th graders. And for every $60, the teacher plans to raise the 6th graders. Graders plan to raise $50.
So we're going to check his work, okay? So, Allie.
I got the same answers.
Good. How many people got the same answer? So some. I think you guys are right if I'm remembering correctly. What I want to do is take 5 minutes and show you how to go through this. So when we read this problem, the first thing that I think is helpful is it talks about the teacher's goal, and that it's $210 more than somebody else's goal. You guys agree with that? So for me to see what the possible choices for the teacher's goal is, so this would go back on that note sheet from yesterday. Do you have that note sheet still? Let's add it to that note sheet.
I don't think I have.
So if you lost yesterday's note sheet, I would start a new note sheet.
I have problem 1.1.
All right.
Yeah, that's that sheet.
So here's what I wanted to say. If I know the teacher's goal is $210 more than one of the other classes, there's only 3 possible choices for the teacher's goal. And one of them would be if I just added 210 to 300, one possible choice would be $510. That's one possibility, because if the teacher's goal is $210 more than one of the students, that's one choice. What would be another choice? Echo.
Be the 7th graders.
Yeah, I could add $210 here. And what would that be?
If he's 760. No, sorry. 650.
60, right? And the last possibility, Casey, what would the last possibility be? You can do it. I'm confident that you can do it. So we're saying the teacher's goal is $210 more than one of the classes, right? So there's only 3 possible numbers that the teacher's goal could be. I found 2 of them. What's the third? How did I find the first 2, Casey? Right. So it might be that the teacher's goal is 510. It might be that the teacher's goal is 660. Or it might be that the teacher's goal is and so you got that by adding 210, right?
Yeah.
So it might be that the teacher's goal is 360. So if we look at Peter's guess, so far his guess is possibly correct. So far 360 is looking good. Okay? Haley, question or a comment?
It's a question. So, how do you know which one would be the correct?
We don't know yet.
Oh.
That's what we have to choose from. So now we have to go to the next clue. We know that the teacher's goal is 4/5 as much as one of the other of the classes. So that's what we have to figure out, is how to figure out 4/5 of each of these. So I'm going to make a little space here. To figure out 4/5 of 300, I'm going to take my 300 and I'm going to divide it into 5 equal parts. And when I do 300 divided by 5, I get 60. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
So that's 1/5. So Antonio, how do you think I'm going to get 4/5?
By
So I've divided my 300 into 5 equal parts. Imagine that there's like a little line here, and it's divided into 5 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If this is my 300, one of my parts is 60. That's 1/5 here. How much is 4/5? What would you have to do? So you keep adding 60? So what's 4/5 of 300? So this is 1/5 right here. This is 2/5. What's 4/5? 240, right? So you guys, that's correct. 4/5 of 300 is 240. But that's not one of these numbers, is it? So it can't be that it's 4/5 of the 6th grade goal. So it can't be the 6th graders. You get that? Some of you guys, when I turn around, you're not paying attention, and then when I call on you, you're a little panicked and you can't really answer questions. Probably a better idea that you pay attention. Especially this is a big giant problem. Be a good test problem. Let me watch. Okay. So now I want to figure out what 4/5 of 450 is. So what am I going to do, Allie?
What you're gonna do is you're gonna divide 450 by 5.
Right? And that's 90. Because 45 divided by 5 is 90. By 9. So now I'm going to take 90 and multiply it by 4, which is what I did up here with the 60. 60 times 4 is 240. 90 times 4 is 360. So now we have a number that's 4/5 of the 7th grade goal and $210 more than the 7th grade goal. So Haley, do you see now that 360 is looking pretty good? But if you're not convinced yet, then you could do 4/5 of 150. So Sebi, how do you do 4/5 of 150?
4/5 of 150 divided by 5.
Right. So 5 goes into 15 3 times, so 30. And then you're going to take your 30 and do what?
Multiply 4.
That's correct. And that equals 120. So 4/5 of 150 is 120, right? And that's not one of the numbers. So it looks to me like Peter was right. It has to be that they have set a goal of $360. And $360 is $210 more than the 8th graders down here. So the 8th graders is right. And it's 4/5 as much as the 7th graders. So that part was right. For every $60 the teachers plan to raise, the 6th graders, we have to check that still. We haven't checked that one. Okay? Is it a question or comment, Haley?
Another question.
Okay.
When you're doing this, if you're finding like, say it says 1/4 of the 7th grade, would you just
Do the same thing, but put 1 and then, or divide by 1 and then.
No, you divide by the number on the bottom. Divide by,
Oh, and then you multiply with the number on top?
that's correct.
Okay.
Good. So we have to check this part. So it says for every $60 the teachers plan to raise. So how much money were the teachers planning to raise? $360. So, Kaden, if I break $360 into 6 parts, what do I get? Yes, 6, right? So is it true that 6 times 50 equals one of the class values? What's 6 times 50?
6 times 50 is 300.
300. So is it true for every $60 that the teachers raise, there's $50 raised by the 6th graders here? Because the 6th graders' goal was 300? Yes. So that problem that we didn't finish yesterday, that's how you finish that. And that's how you use fractions to finish that. Okay, so I'm going to post that as the part 2. So if you're having questions like Haley had, even though it seems like she's kind of got it now, like how to take 4/5 of a number or 2/3 of a number, maybe that'll help you.
What?